Hi, little birds! It's your girl Jalen coming at you again with another video. One that I got inspired by somebody named Jackson Bird, and he talked about how he chose his name, and that's something I haven't discussed with a lot of my friends or a lot of people of how I pick my name. And my little buddy here is Everest, and he's supposed to be not talking, but it's okay. Um, so how there's different approaches to how you can pick your own name. It's very different from you know picking your child's name or somebody else's you know a godchild's name or whatever, and it's very different process. Each of us approaches it a little different. My approach was I just wanted to keep the initials that I had. I didn't not like my boy name. It's just that it wasn't very girly, and because of that, I wanted to change it, and there wasn't a feminine form of it. Now, I know some transgender people, they choose to just go by the feminine form, or they pick a totally different name out of the blue, or they even, ask their parents, hey, if I was a girl, what would you have named me? I asked my parents, and my mother was like, oh, that was so long ago, I don't remember. So I was like, well, okay, that's not an avenue I can take then. So that was definitely not the path I took, but I did want to keep my initials, which was JHS. And so, the first thing I thought of was, it works for babies. Why not just go to a baby book? So I went to a baby book. I looked it up and viewed several pages of names that were with J, and I got the common ones that were Jessica, um, Jamie, ones like that. And another of my goals was I didn't want a name that you hear all the time, that you're just like, oh yeah, I have 12 Jessicas that are down the road from me. I didn't want to have a very common name that was, you know, everywhere. So I got looking and looking. You know, I was much quicker than a lot of people in deliberating for me. Uh, and I came upon a baby name book. I think it was for like English names. And, I got going through the JA names, and Jalen just stood out to me as, it was unique. It sounded nice. It was pretty. It was feminine. You couldn't confuse it with a guy name per se. It wasn't a unisex name. Some of us pick unisex names, and I didn't want a unisex name so that I wouldn't be confused when I would be like, yeah, I'm Jamie. And they'd be like, oh, you're a boy? No, I'm not a boy. I'm not trying to be a boy, nor do I connect with that anymore. So, yeah, I wanted something very unique, very feminine. And so Jalen just stood out to me. And from then on, that's what I liked. I didn't look anymore. So it was funny because it was shortly after I came out that I found it, and everybody at work was like, when can we start using your name? When can we start using your name? And I was like, oh, I didn't want to jump the gun too much. And, you know, it just became apparent to me in work and going around town and stuff that, I really needed to start going by the name that I had chosen for myself. And, you know, you need the other thing you need to make sure to cover with people, especially your parents, you're not doing this out of spite, you're not doing this out of hate, or that you don't like the name they gave you, but just explain to them that it's not what you connect with now. It's maybe not feminine enough, maybe it's not masculine enough, maybe you want to be more unisex. Explain to your family why you're changing it so that they can understand. Now, if you don't have an understanding family, or they don't, understand what you're going through or what you're trying to accomplish, then I totally get it. You don't have to explain it to them. Just do what you feel is right. So, and then as far as my middle name, which I did keep the H, but I put it a little further along. So I have two middle names, and the other one was that I had was Willow. I'd been talking with my ex again for a while, and we had talked on about her daughter and what she had named her daughter and considered names, and she brought up Willow, and it was one of the baby names we had picked for our sons if they had been girls, and we really liked Willow. And when she had mentioned it, I'm like, I could have used it for my name, because I like that name. I like Willow. And plus it also brings me back a little bit to my nerdiness, because there's Willow, and there's the Willow in the movie, which was, some of you might not even know the movie. It was a long time ago, I know. And then there's Willow in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I watched like every episode. I loved Buffy. It was so awesome to have this strong female character that was out there kicking ass and just, showing what women can do. And I really loved that show at the time. So yeah, you have to have a goal in mind picking your name. For some of us, you might take a while, and hey, it's okay. You want it to be you. You want it to be uniquely you, and it's got to connect with you. It's got to bring something true inside of you, and to bring out your authenticity, because everybody has a different goal with the name change. And then once you pick a name, you do have to go start doing the legal process. If you want to legally use that name, basically the steps that I took. I was in Florida, and I went to the courthouse, got the papers, filled out the papers, turned them in, and you do have to pay a processing fee in most states. In Florida, it was $400, and I paid that up front with the papers when I turned them in. And it took about 2 months for them to finally get back and say, okay, here's your court date. And then the court date was 2 months out from the letter, so you're going to wait a while, so you have to kind of be patient and let the legal process work its way out. And then I appeared before I did have to go before a judge. And, some states you don't have to do that. But in Florida, you did have to appear before the judge to get a judgment and for them to rule in your name change. The thing that was for me, that when I went in, the judge saw how I was dressed and everything, and was like, do you want to approach the bench? I was like, sure. I didn't really care, because at the end of the day, I am who I am, and it doesn't bother me if people don't like that or not. So I went before the judge, and he's like, okay, why do you want a name change? And I'm like, well, I want a name change to fit my gender, how I identify now, because my previous name does not fit. He's like, I can see, and I agree, and I hereby rename you, and congratulations. And it was about a week later that I got the letters, the judgment letter, and I had to go get official, you have to get official letters from the courthouse stating to the name change, and that can be like a stamp or a actually embossed seal that says it's an official document. And you know, you have to change all your legal things, your social security, your birth certificate, um, credit cards, anything with your name that has your old name in it. Keep in mind, like if you went to several schools like I did, you have to change your transcripts if you want them to match, which I totally gaffed on. I have 4 schools that I went to. It's a long story, but I went to 4 schools. I changed the one that I got my degree from, but I didn't think, you know, that I would need the other transcripts to change them. And come to find out, I'm like, okay, I want to go back to university. And so they're like, well, we need all your transcripts. And I had to explain to them that it's in 2 different names, but I explained to them that the grades match up, in which when they looked at it, they were like, oh, okay, we see that. So in my case, they could see that all the records matched, and they could match it up to both names, and it didn't matter. But you do want to make sure that you change that name as many places as you can remember. There are a lot of things that you may not remember and you may forget, and that's perfectly fine. You know, go back and change it, you know, change that one and you're done. You know, it is a process to get it all legally changed over, and it will cost you some time, money, effort. So just enjoy it. You know, enjoy your name change. Enjoy picking for yourself what you want to be called. And this is Jalen again, coming at you, and be your authentic selves. Bye.